We always try to fulfill as many wishes as possible, and one of the cars you want to see here in our full review is the Subaru Forester in the new generation. Here also today with the new hybrid engine. So let's take a detailed look. Exterior, interior and the driving experience. Here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! By the way, in the US you usually get them a little bit earlier. Here in Germany we always have to wait a little bit longer to get the new models. And here we are now with the new Subaru Forester and the new front. Well, it hasn't changed in design that much, but underneath there's a new platform and it's actually doubled the chassis stiffness, so this will be very interesting in driving. Other than that, the styling is not too different, a little bit more modern. LED lamps are now standard. Front grille, typical Subaru style, rather conservative layout and the classic off-road layout. As for dimensions, a little bit wider, a little bit longer, so but didn't change too much. A little bit in the wheelbase, we'll see how that affects the interior. And in some markets you can also get a different styling here for the front grille, a sportier one. Here a little bit more with the chrome effect and with the horizontal fins. And the color for today is crimson red pearl. 4.62 m, 15 foot 2 or 182 inches is the length, 3 centimeters or about an inch in wheelbase. The increase here if you compare it to the previous platform, and wheels are available in 17 or 18 inch. These here are the optional 18 inch, or they come then with the higher trims. Classic off-road wheel arches here. Then today we have the e-Boxer logo. This is this new hybrid system. Contrasting mirror cups, and you also have a special camera here on the co-driver or passenger side. We'll talk about that function then later on in the interior. Other than that, the classic styling here on the exterior is rather upright, very conservative styling here, which is again pro and con. You might say, yeah, it looks a little boring, but then again, due to these upright windows, you have great visibility from the inside. And then again, also rather towards the rear, a box style. Do you prefer this rather classic layout, or would you say it looks too old? Looking at the rear, here we have the most drastic design change, if you can say so, because the tail lamps are more horizontal and they have this C-form then here, then a so to say black panel right there, and there's a real exhaust pipe. Again, lower part, the silver contrast here, which works pretty well together with the red color. So at Subaru they use 4-cylinder boxer engines, so these are flat engines, so-called. And here in the Forester you have a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine, 150 horsepower, a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine, 185 horsepower or 182 horsepower depending on market spec. And this today is the 2-liter e-Boxer, 150 horsepower plus 16 horsepower from an electric motor. 0.6 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, and Subaru themselves, I say it's mild hybrid, but I actually rather say it's an inbuilt hybrid comparable to the power output than we have with the Toyotas, or let's say from the driving feeling you have them there, but more of course when we drive the car. Thing is that the acceleration figure here with 11.8 seconds is way slower than 10.3 for the rather just naturally aspirated 2-liter engine, and 9.5 it is for the 2.5, so definitely a slower one, and probably one of the reasons why this one is not available in the US but rather thought for Europe, because here it's important for the fleet CO2 consumption with having this hybrid system. First door closing sound. No, actually not too bad. Taking a look at the interior, this one here is soft touch, this one here as well, so that's well done. Also some bigger bottles do fit in the side door pocket. Here, speaker of the Harman Kardon sound system, the optional one. Nice aluminum panels here. It looks quite sporty, by the way. Then steering wheel here on the left side for the volume or picking up the phone. Right side then controls for the cruise controls. As for seats, in US and in Europe, both start with fabric seats in lower and mid specs. Some of the red application on the outside. These here in the platinum trim, the higher trim is all animal skin then, at least on the inside, so the inside areas. And it makes it very expensive and of course also worse as for the experienced climate comfort. And what I've also experienced in Subaru and in Mitsubishi cars, when they are equipped with animal skin surface, they have very strange chemical smell on the interior, which is actually the same. Maybe the same supplier then for the animal leather seats, I don't know. Let's get inside. That's so easy here. You have this upright SUV seating position here, as we know also from the previous Forester. Seating position right there is in the lowest position, 1m86 or 6'1". And with the panoramic roof in here, there's still a lot of headroom left, no problem. Steering wheel can be put in and out, up and down. Not such a smooth process here. When you're putting it up and down here, it's like, you maybe also hear that. So yeah, that's not that convincing for the build quality. Other than that, the build quality has been improved in this new generation here. And the cool thing is, it's so spacious and so light in this interior, especially then with the panoramic roof, which has this classic manual shade. You just use it by hand, and yeah, I think that's not bad at all. It's an easy process. Not everything needs to be electrified, but again, upright windows, panoramic windscreen in the front, upright window there, such a good overview and so light, even if it's not that bright on the exterior. That's to me one of the most favorite things here in this car. By the way, here the manual opening is just when you want the light from that one. If you really want to open the glass roof completely with the electric function, you can do that, and then it goes back automatically. So I think that's actually a very good solution. And not only for opening, but if you close it again, it also comes back directly. Or you can, you cannot stop it then here manually. Just when it's closed again, then you can do it like this once more. So I actually closed the sunshade on top, but because otherwise it would have gotten too bright in here. The interior layout here with the soft touch material, interesting surface here. Also, this is also soft touch, but has a special structure that's actually quite well done. And you see, it doesn't look too much different from the previous model, but some updates definitely. We have the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support now here in this 8-inch screen. Option, you can also get a car inbuilt GPS for that. Soon more deals. And you still have a classic volume knob, and I also like that we still have the classic climate knobs. This is higher quality now, even has some slight clicking sounds now, so that's also easy to control it while driving. Seat heating here as well. This is a top trim car. In the lower area here also with some softer materials. Interesting also with this split screen there in the top part, and you can, for example, use that for an additional camera. Then we show you that from the outside. Here, this is then showing the right wheel, that you don't damage something off the right side, and of course you can see everything on the right side there. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting addition for sure. Then soon also more details to these analog instruments with a smaller display in the middle. Other than that, you see it's a rather conservative layout, but it does the job. And well, this split layout in the top part, you can see a little bit more than while driving, for example. Different things you can also display on there. Again, we're showing you more details of that very soon. In the lower area, you connect your smartphone, one USB supply right there, then automatic gearbox CVT, and there's this new X mode drive selector. You can also change to snow or mud modes or snow and dirt. This changed a little bit of the all-wheel drive distribution when you use it for off-road driving, or just push it and leave it in the normal mode. Cup holders are somewhat adaptive and also fit bigger sizes, and below this armrest we find a little bit more space in a split way. And the instruments, classic left analog for the RPM, right analog for the speed. In the middle one, the digital Smaller screen, you can see consumption figures, for example, or you can also have the current speed. Basically it does the job. Hey, there it is, my favorite winter feature, the heated steering wheel. Multimedia system, this is a Subaru menu like this, touchscreen, or you can go to the Apple CarPlay, and we can also listen to some music right there. There we go. There's a nice sound from this optional sound system here. Satisfied with that. You also have the hotkeys here, for example, where you can switch to media if you want to listen via Bluetooth or USB, but usually you would use the CarPlay or Android Auto now, or to the map, and this has been updated now. It's not, let's say, the most fancy system. You see also responsiveness can also be better, but at least it's better than in the version before. Most of the time, I mean, you don't have to pick the optional GPS, probably use the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and that's it. And in this top screen, you can see temperature, that you don't have to look down for that, so that's a good idea. And then you can also have some more informational gauges, so also off-road gauges, for example, and this is the map data, or also either with Bluetooth or what's running with Apple CarPlay, consumption figures, and so on. And yet again, there would be then the camera monitor right here. It's not flickering in real life, by the way, just on camera now. And then you can see what's going on with the right wheel and the right side. And the rear view camera looks like this then. Actually, now better resolution, you can see what's going on. And this would be then playing together and also then with the other camera view we have up there. As for the rear here, soft touch materials, at least here in the outer part. This then is just hardback, but overall I think that's quite good, and also very easy entry to the rear, and actually also extremely good when you install some child seats, because these doors here almost open 90 degrees. That's such an easy access here. There's isofix on the outside parts each, and you flip the seats from here already, or you can also do it from the trunk. Soon showing you that. There's also a strap here in the lower part, and that enables you to adjust the angle a little bit, more like leaning backwards or more upright, depending on how you prefer to sit here actually. As for the headroom with the panoramic roof, still some left, so that's also good for tall people. It's no problem actually, and so much legroom here. Wow. This is actually pretty impressive, and again, so spacious, this whole area. A little bit better even than in the previous generation, and I think overall you can move around here so well that even the middle seat is no problem for a tall adult at all. Also as for the footwell here and so on, so that's really exceptionally good. Then you can flip down the armrest here with some rubber lips, also that the beverages are kept tight. And then you also have optional seat heating for the rear seats and 2 more USB supplies, but with a very strange cover right there. So here we go. Electric hatch is available and also included in mid trims already, and it opens and closes faster than before. That's a big difference. Then 510 to 1780 liters when it's flipped are the capacity figures, and about the measurements. This here is already more than the meter, so that's the narrow part. And the wider part here is more than 1 meter 20. So this right here is even 1 meter 40, but just in this very shallow area. Optional Harman Kardon sound system. There's also a speaker here in the rear. So overall, square dimensions, really very well using them. And the height here up to the cover right there is 44 centimeters, and the top height right there is about 80 centimeters. And the lower loading sill is 67 centimeters. And then we can already flip the seats from here, 2 buttons left and right, and that's a great solution. And look how they flip automatically from here. Awesome. And here then the length. The car is not super long, but yet again, it's about 1 meter and 80. So I think the loading capability and also the practicability of this trunk is exceptional. Really well done. Here, this top cover, this is the only thing, well, wobbles here a little bit, no railing left and right. But then again, it's also not the worst solution here, because this here goes quite easily in and out. And one more look how a cabin trolley fits here under the cover very well, easily done. And by the way, should you wonder, the area below that, usually used for a replacement tire, in this case only a small storage compartment, because here also the battery for the inbuilt hybrid is stored then underneath. And what about the child safety test? Let's see. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's strong torque. Maybe it has to do with the electric hatch opening faster and also closing faster now that they applied more torque to that. So you see it goes faster now, but it also has a lot of strength. So yeah, shouldn't get anything between that. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the new Subaru Forester. Here today also as the new e-Boxer, which will be very interesting, but of course also general impressions about this engine. If you cannot buy this specific engine, it will still count for the whole vehicle, everything we say here. So the biggest technology change as for the chassis was, as I told you earlier, double stiffness now for the whole chassis. So it's a new platform, even though it doesn't look that new if you compare earlier models. So the first impression you get is, yeah, well, is it really that new? And I mean, yeah, we got the CarPlay running here now, yes, but in general this car, as for the basic feeling it conveys, is that it would be an old vehicle, like really a couple of years old. That's not necessarily good, of course, so it doesn't convey the feeling of being a modern, up-to-date car. A lot of things are so conservative and so on, and the whole layout here hasn't been changed that much. Yet again, you can also say, okay, I get what I'm used to, you know, I don't need too much fancy new stuff. And one of the cool things of being rather, let's say, a classic building style is, this is the vehicle with probably the best overview overall, like from all cars I've driven. I mean, especially here with the panoramic roof we have. I mean, today it's not that bright outside, but I think you already see it on camera. It's so bright in this interior, and that's so cool. I mean, the amount of glass around me is huge, and these very modernly designed cars are often like with these tiny windows and big shoulders, and windows always like, you know, staying like this on the side and this on the rear, and this is more box style here, this design. A lot of space on the interior and everything so upright, and I can exactly see what's going on. I mean, I feel like driving a tiny vehicle as for the overview I have. And I mean, there's hardly any B-pillar blocking my way, you know, when I'm doing over the shoulder look and so on. This is really excellent. So hardly have I ever experienced a car where the overview from inside the vehicle to the outside is that excellent. So that's definitely a big positive. Other than that, the steering, you know, is quite, let's say, neutral. It doesn't have a dead zone area or something. It's very light, so you don't need much force in it. Yet again, it's not like, you know, offset or something. So nothing to praise there, nothing to complain there. So that's like, you know, exactly in the middle, I would say. Then you have the upright seating position, of course, and together with the good overview, it can also give you a good traveling feeling, you know. So when you're going longer trips, for example, especially thinking of US motorways and so on, maybe with a family or something, everyone can look outside, have a good overview right there. So it always plays a good role also when you're traveling, especially. And the car also feels not complicated at all. That's again a positive for being rather conservative. You just step inside, start driving, and that's it, basically, you know. So maybe the only complicated thing could be like the split screen here, that you have an additional one on the top. So while driving, yes, you can better look to the one at the top, for example. I've also mounted this special gauge there. for the charging of the mild hybrid system, told you earlier, Subaru themselves say it's a mild hybrid. You can also argue it's rather coming close to the ones that Toyota is building to be a full inbuilt hybrid, not a mild hybrid, or maybe something in between. That's just a matter of definition. But here then you can see, not sure if you really want to take a look at that while driving all day. You can see like when is there like something recharge, when not. At the moment we're driving in the EV mode, it says like green EV, but here now just the first 2 meters, then the combustion engine is hopping on. You can also see it in the RPM meter on the left when the RPMs are running. So theoretically up to 40 kilometers an hour, so up to like should be about 25 miles an hour, can drive about 2 kilometers or 1 mile all electric if the battery is full. Then again, 0.6 kilowatt hours battery, that's of course tiny, and again just using as a buffer. It's not about the all electric moments here in this vehicle, it's rather about, they want to cross? No, it's not. It's rather about having this as a buffer and then playing a good effect for the fuel economy overall. So when I'm here off the throttle, RPMs drop to 0, I'm just rolling, EV mode is on. That is saving some fuel and of course, and also again some recuperation for the battery. So, and I mean in the Toyotas it does work actually pretty well. As for the fuel economy, here I mean it depends on the driving profile and on our usual consumption test here. We score here now about 7 liters on 100 kilometers, and for a vehicle of that size I would say it's okay. Yeah, I mean it's not too small, it's an SUV, however we don't have too much power. Wouldn't exactly say this is like wonders of the world, but it's also not too bad. So of course we'll closely monitor that for you further. So here now getting on the motorway, I can also set it to this SI drive mode that is changing the RPMs a little bit. Now 50 to 80 kilometers an hour acceleration. Plop, that's it. So you see this SI driving mode, it speeds up the process a little bit. With the CVT automatic we don't have classic gearing, as you know from an automatic gearbox. Still you can change a little bit how the RPMs are being applied here, and it's not an explosive acceleration at all, and that might also be another reason why they do not offer it in the US yet, with 11.8 seconds, so close to 12 seconds in the acceleration figure, 0 to 100 or 62 miles an hour. It's rather slow if you compare it then with the other just purely naturally aspirated engines that are available, the 2 liter or the 2.5 liter. They're both somewhat around the 10 seconds, and the 2.5 liter NA even less than 10 seconds. So that's more than 2 seconds faster, so it will definitely be faster and also more performant to drive. So this mild hybrid or in-built hybrid, however you want to take it, is rather for the fuel economy on paper in Europe because of the emission laws, that they don't need to pay so much money then to the to the governments at the end of the day, because they need to pay these fees if they exceed the CO2 fleet emissions, and that's probably not such a issue in the US, and therefore probably they also don't offer it then in the US. Just making more margin and also offering the faster engines there then. So is it then bad to have the system? I wouldn't say it's bad, but I also wouldn't say it's that beneficial. So it's okay, not a must-have, and yeah, doesn't hurt at all. New Z4. Considering the front grille was an M40i. Yeah. When we here at Autogefühl, we always take a look at other cars on the road here as well. We also, there's a lane run-off road protection here as well. It's giving me the warning at least. We can also set the cruise control. Here on the right side thumb. can also decrease or increase the distance to the car in front of us. So this is an ACC here, adaptive cruise control. With the Subaru eyesight system, they have camera that is watching that, so they're not trusting so much in radar, but rather in camera-based systems, which are pretty exact when the visibility is good, actually even better, but can be weaker when the visibility is very poor. So that's pro and contra. So that's also a reason why sometimes sensors are being mixed. Here again, the CVT automatic, you might hear it uphill, slight acceleration just, and it's like, so sound-wise, this is not that pleasant usually. So we are now all at 100 kilometers an hour. Here the adaptive cruise control is being set. You see also the speed is being reduced. I'm not on the brakes at the moment. We'll overtake right here. And then again, the engine is quite struggling when going uphill. So you might also want to think if that's then the proper one to mount a trailer behind or something. And you might also hear that it's already sounding, a little bit stressed kind of when we're not going uphill, but also from the wind noises. So here at the moment at 100 kilometers an hour, and that's already feeling quite loud. Agility-wise, I think I'm more satisfied definitely here, also in a faster corner on the motorway. So you feel that the chassis has become stiffer. So the previous generation, which we've been driving, I think Michelle and I have been filming that 2015 or something. You can also compare that to review where we've just YouTube searched Subaru Forester Autogefühl. And that was more like, you didn't feel too much connected to the car. This isn't a sporty car at all, by the way. Doesn't have to be, it's also not supposed to be. But definitely this generation feels more connected, and I think that's a little better. So it is a little bit more driving fun. It's not the typical vehicle where you would say, yeah, this is like the one I have most driving fun with. But yet again, this generation here, or this new edition of the Subaru Forester, definitely gives you more driving fun, and I like that. Steering, by the way, does remind us a little bit of off-road character still. And that's of course also with the off-road heritage of a brand. Symmetrical all-wheel drive means they still have, let's say, a classic all-wheel drive and not these newer systems, which is like front-wheel driven plus rear-on-demand. This is still a classic all-wheel drive. And you also feel this rather equal distribution when accelerating. You're getting pulled from front and pushed from the rear at the same time. So there's a very, very equal feeling when accelerating. Why not? Sure. For sporty driving, more push from the rear would also always be nice, of course, but this is also, again, not what this car is supposed to be. Yet again, this rather boxy styling and this, they don't pay so much attention to noise insulation. Here already at about 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, it gets quite noisy. It's still okay at this speed. Anything that is above that will get a little bit louder. It might also have to do with that this whole a lot of glass areas, huge inside cabin. Maybe that also creates some more echo or something. So yeah, not the best in noise insulation, also not the worst. And this indeed accounts for a lot of things of this vehicle, So there are not so many things where you could say oh, this is bad. But there are also not so many things where you could say this is exceptionally good, So they do have some things that do stand out from the manufacturers, like some things, how they approach it. Also, they still offer naturally aspirated engines, for example. People will like that, and also their off-road capabilities. But the most, of the performance factors we can measure is that we say, quite decent, or let's say neutral, in the middle of something. Okay, that's the verdict overall of this vehicle. So not excellent, but also not bad at all. I think we hit the brakes here. Yeah, always safe. So, here again, by the way, now, EV mode is like also supporting this typical stop-start function, which we have typically nowadays in the vehicles. It's just that this is like taking an elaborate function of that. It goes, of course, a little bit better. Then when we start again, the battery can take the first few meters, and that's actually quite interesting, quite good to do that then. We have the blind spot monitor, which is, by the way, here in this side mirror. Maybe you have seen it flashing already, I don't know. I think we can induce that here when I'm now keeping on the right lane and let someone overtake on the left one. That's actually, you know, that could be a possibility when the traffic light finally jumps to green. So at slower speeds, noise insulation is no problem at all, you know, but not thought out to be like a high motorway speed vehicle, definitely not. So, let's see. There's like a previous generation Mercedes GLE with the trailer. Not sure if it wants to overtake me with the trailer there. Now again, EV mode, 0 RPM, I'm just rolling. So these are situations where you can use that, you know, when you're going like from traffic light to traffic light. Now the next car is approaching on the left lane. It's now the Audi A4, I think. So, of course, when sitting still, it's not working. There it is. Yeah. That was, of course, quite late now, but also not like a really realistic situation. But I just wanted to show you the light, you know, how the light appears there. That's, of course, a very good system. So, recently, Subaru has paid a lot of attention to assisted systems. That's also a good move, definitely. When it's a little bit colder, I always use the steering wheel heating, which already comes at mid-trim levels here usually. That's, of course, a good feature, and it's really, you know, decently warm. Here now again, driving 50 kilometers an hour in the EV mode, so slightly downhill. This could be another situation where you can really use that one very, very well. So now again, the combustion engine hops on because we're going slightly uphill again, and I was a little bit more on the throttle. So definitely comparable to the Toyota inbuilt hybrid systems. From driving, I really have to say, even though because of the low power output, they say it would officially be mild hybrid, driving-wise and for the customer, it's definitely more like this inbuilt hybrid. So you cannot charge from the outside, but it delivers more electric moments than a mild hybrid. Yet again, not too much performance from this engine. So if you ask me, no problem for you guys in the US that you do not have this mild hybrid or like this inbuilt hybrid system yet. You'll be just fine, or even better with the 2.5 naturally aspirated engine. So you know, that's a proven engine, and why not go for that anyway? So overall, again, from the Subaru Forester compared to the predecessor, a little bit more fun in driving, a little bit more agile due to this stiffer chassis. So definitely a better drive. Feels also a little bit more modern. Then we have, you know, new model system, infotainment, multimedia, and so on and so on. But the overall driving feeling is still, as I said initially, it does not feel like a completely new car. Very conservative in how they approach things. Yet again, this can be good or bad depending on the preference. One of the good things, didn't mention that yet, see that the climate unit is still manual, and this, as I said earlier, has also been improved in, you know, in the quality, and also have the resonance here of the clicking sound and so on. So yeah, always comes with pros and cons definitely, but that's why we're here for, doing the reviews for you. So what are you thinking about the Subaru Forester? Or leave me your first thoughts while we're listening to the final conclusion. And now to the conclusion for today with the Subaru Forester, here the 2020 model, and also with the inbuilt hybrid engine. Well, first of all, exterior, although it has a new platform underneath, it doesn't look too much different on the exterior, a little bit more modern maybe, but overall the design, exterior, and also the whole body concept is very conservative, which could be, you know, a bad thing, so to say, when you think, oh, I want a very modern car. But then again, it's a good thing, for example, because you have so much space on the inside. The windows are upright and the visibility from inside to the outside is really exceptional. One of the best visibilities overall. Upright windows, you exactly know what's going on everywhere, and again, there's so much space on the inside, so that's actually a very, very good thing. And the car is relatively easy to learn. Now you have also some infotainment update and so on. Driving wise, it's also, let's say, rather neutral and conservative. This car is not bad in any sense, but it's also not exceptional in any sense. Yeah, the all-wheel drive capabilities are still very good for those who actually want to use that. Then again, the normal street driving, you know, it's not exceptionally silent. The steering is actually quite likable, there's no problem. The engine is not that performant, so it does take a while to get going. So this hybrid concept doesn't give you too much boost, although it's officially 16 horsepower boost extra. Yet again, I think the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine would still be a better choice as you, for example, get it in the US. It's just a little bit faster, and the fuel savings here today for this engine, with being about between 7 and 8 liters on 100 kilometers, is not really that it would say it does really make sense to put this inbuilt hybrid concept. Is rather just for the consumption on paper then. But overall, still a decent vehicle, definitely. Here in the top platinum trim, it's too expensive, I think, 44,000 euros then in Germany. That's too expensive. Rather go for a lower entry spec trim with the fabric seats and so on. Then you can also get a decent one for less than 40,000 euros, about like 35, 36,000 euros. And of course, US prices are even a little bit lower. That's why also the Subaru cars are also a little bit more famous than in the US than they are actually at the moment here in Germany. However, Subaru have a very strong fan base, and people who have been driving the Subarus over years usually also stick with them and actually are also quite satisfied. By the way, one thing I forgot, the MPG figures then for the consumption here today. So it's about 30 MPG US and higher 30 MPG, so like 35, 36 MPG UK. So that's it for today. Please leave us your comments to this generation of the Subaru Forester. Let's discuss it right there, and also see you next time. Thank you so much.